if you want to be promoted, you want to move up in your career, you need to focus on these 5 things. You may already have these 5 things without realizing it, and then in that case you need to make sure everybody sees them. So in this video I'm going to talk exactly about that. What are the 5 things that I believe are the most important things, the most important aspect of your career, and if you have them, you're already acting as a tech lead, and you need to make sure your team sees that and your manager also sees that. Okay, let's start. So why this matters? Too many developers stay stuck into their senior position simply because they think writing good code is enough. And I'll tell you, there is more, and you can still be technical as a tech lead, but you need to make sure you have these 5 elements. So transitioning to tech leads means shifting from building things to understanding how things get built. There is quite a difference in terms of skills that you need to have, but again, you may already have them. So now let's see what are the 5 signs. Sign number 1, you think in systems instead of code. What does it mean? So observe yourself whenever you are refining a story. Are you focusing just on the task, or you are zooming out a little bit to see the entire problem from a different angle? Because, for example, let's say you are writing an API. When you're thinking about that API, do you think just what is going to be the method or the functionality or the feature? Or you're also thinking monitoring, rate limiting, retries, how another team is going to consume it, the experience for developers internally and consumers of that API. If you do that, you are already thinking in systems and not just code. So now, trick here is to always consider what are the trade-offs instead of just focusing on what do I need to do to make it work. This is sign number 1. So sign number 2, you make others around you better. What does it mean? Junior around you look for your guidance, and if that is happening and you realize that your behavior is not just fixing their code but also explaining why, or guiding them, or dedicating time to pair with them, then you are already operating in that mode. And an example is when a junior is writing a PR, there are mistakes or is not production ready, and instead of rewriting it, you spend time and you sit with them and you tell them exactly why things are not good in that way and needs to be changed. So you allow them to level up. And this is one of the key elements of a tech lead, because your impact gets multiplied with your team, because there is the person that brought the PR, but if you do this in public in a constructive way, your entire team will learn. So at the same time, you are multiplying and sharing all these best practices with the entire team. Sign number 3, you take ownership beyond your ticket. So I've seen lots of times engineers saying, oh, that's not my fault, that's not my ticket, I don't touch that, it's not my problem. And if you are operating in the opposite way, where you go beyond your ticket in the sense that there is a problem with the pipeline, you fix the pipeline, there is a problem with the deployment, or there is a bug in production, and you talk to QAs and you align with the operation team, then you are operating that way. One example is a deployment failed, you don't just create a ticket or blame another team. You start digging deep into the CI/CD pipeline and you talk to the infra team and move on, trying to unblock yourself and also understand what is under the hood of your pipelines. So here the key thing to understand is that you're not defined by the number of commits that you do, but you are defined by the number of features that you deliver. So what gets shipped is more important than the number of commits. Sign number 4 is when you can influence without authority. What does it mean? During a meeting, especially technical meetings, whenever you see that you talk and people listen to you and there is a level of buy-in into your ideas, then you are operating that way. So you are influencing without having the title, without being the tech lead, but you are listened. They want to listen what is your idea, what is your opinion. So in that moment, you realize that there is a difference between you and everybody else. At that time, you are leading already. So make note of all these things because they will be essential for a discussion with your manager, especially when you want to talk about your promotion. And the sign number 5 is when you start focusing more on people than on code. Why this is important because a team is not just a multiplier. A team of 5 people will deliver work that is done by 7, 8, 10 individual contributors. Why? Because the essence of a team, especially high-performing teams, obviously, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole, and you realize that when your team is in perfect conditions, everything is super smooth. Communication is flowing and the delivery is constant. So you have people encouraging each other, and that gives you the ability to perform way better and feel less tired at the end of the day because there is less friction. So when you focus on people and on the dynamics inside the team, trying to reduce all the friction that is possible, that is present, at that time you see that your team outcome follows more an exponential curve instead of a linear curve. So if you realize that you are balancing quality, technical quality, and also the health of the team and the dynamics inside your team, you are again already operating as tech lead. So if you have been nodding your head through all these 5 signs, you need to realize that this is the truth here. You are already operating as a tech lead, but you haven't made that visible, or maybe that is visible to everybody but not to you, and you need to make sure you're also selling that if you really want the promotion. So in this video here, I talk about how you can have a conversation with your manager and how to prepare yourself for that conversation. It's not a one conversation, spoiler alert, but is how you prepare yourself for the promotion is key. So that's why I'm not including that in this video, but I made a dedicated video for that. So this is it. If you found this video useful, click like and subscribe, and see you in the next video on Grow with Anto. Bye.